that the results show a curious trend throughout at each of those entries. And he has annexed evidence of each of those entries by way of the displays from Citizen TV, showing each hour and the display, each hour and the display, from page 2 of that annexure all the way to page 29. And for each of those, it shows a consistent pattern in difference of the votes between Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President Kenyatta of 11%. At each of those stages. President Kenyatta at 55%, Prime Minister Odinga at 44%. The second observation he makes is that if, as by law provided, these results were coming randomly from across the country, then it would not be possible to have such a consistent gap. And for that, he comes to the third conclusion, which he demonstrates, that it is clear that the results were not coming throughout, but they were coming in batches. And that is also demonstrated by their next documents. They were being held somewhere and then released in batches. It is his postulation, my lord, number 5, that the results were not being streamed from the polling stations because the returns do not show that as by law provided. That this is the result from Kawangware polling station. This is the result from Mathare North 1 polling station. They were coming in batches, and therefore it is not possible to determine from which polling station which results came. And that leads into two fundamental conclusions. One, that the results were being held and adjusted through what he calls an error adjustment formula. An error adjustment formula. My lords, he confirms that this formula is as follows, and that anybody in this courtroom or elsewhere who uses this formula will come to the same conclusion. It's a formula of y equal to 1.204. Sorry. I apologize, my lord. The formula is y equal 1.2045 times plus 183. Yes, indeed, my lord. That is, I am not a mathematician, so I will merely state as they state. Fortunately, in the event that the court needed him, he is also available. Times plus 183,546. 183,546. This is a graph he shows on his affidavit. That using that formula, and my lord, you can see it there, it is indeed times, then plus. Being a mere lawyer, I will not attempt to interpret. But it is his contention that analyzing the result from when it starts to the end, it gives a very clear, straight line, which is a statistical impossibility. The third respondent has endeavored to demonstrate to you the polling stations that transmitted the initial results. How the third respondent got that information is up to them. But it is not information from the public portal, and that is not disputed. But more importantly, the law requires that that information, that result must be verified and accurate. It must reflect what is in 34A. It is clear, and it was demonstrated, my lords, that the results in this case do not reflect that. What does the IBC tell you? IBC first, in their papers, they call that is a mere statistic. It is irrelevant. In court, my learned friend Mr. Nyamodi says that is mere data. When pressed by this court, it says it is a figure that was formerly called provisional results. My lords did ask them, so what are they? They could not answer. My lord, these are supposed to be results by law, transmitted electronically, and you cannot transmit inaccuracies and run away from it. But more interestingly, and sometimes this happens when you have many counsels, to the very basic question, were all the 34 A's transmitted eventually to the National Tallying Center? My learned friend Mr. Nyamodi says yes. Issa Mansour comes later and says no. There is no requirement for delivering Form 34As. Hence, the question of returns is irrelevant. My lord, this is the same IBC addressing you on such an important matter. This IBC, my lord, wants you to believe that the chairman has no role in verifying what he declares. That because the Minor K decision said the results are final, that the chairman must robotically pick them and pronounce without verifying. I submit, my lords, that that cannot be the position. But more interestingly, my lord, and I have 2 minutes to go for my own time, they transmitted these results to the entire public. A member of an expert, given those very results, analyzed them and presented them to you. Not the IEBC, not the third respondent have disputed the entries that were provided to you. Those entries tell a story through a regression analysis, an impossible story. What does the IEBC tell you and tell this country? That is Pythagoras' theorem. People paid by the taxpayers. Lawyers engaged who will be paid by the taxpayer. Some of whom are already public officers, that is Pythagoras' theorem. My lords, I respect if you submit that this court and the people of Kenya must be treated with a little more respect. My lord, lastly, and this is my closing on my part, the issue and the question that my lords did ask, the difference in presidential votes and all the others. And my lord, we did show that the difference runs into 577,000 votes. And my lords did ask the respondents the question, what accounts for that? The IEBC, my lord, through its lawyers, stand in this court and tell you with a straight face that the difference is because of the diaspora votes and the prisons votes. Their own documents show that the total number of diaspora votes is 4,000, their own documents. We are not even asking how many voted. The total number of registered voters in terms of the prisoners is 5,000. The exact number, my lord, is 5,528. Diaspora is 4,393. And they stand here, my lord, to tell you that those numbers, which come to less than 9,000, is why the president has 570,000 votes more. My lord, I submit that the contempt and unseriousness with which the IBC has treated this petition and this court reflects the unseriousness and the shoddiness with which they treated the presidential election process. Thank you, my lord.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Otiende.
Thank you, my lord.
Yes, Mr. Norwich.
Thank you, my lord.